Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Secret Sauce of Selling podcast, the ultimate guide and sales gym to unlocking the secrets of successful selling. I'm your host, James Abraham, and on my mission to empower the best generation of sales professionals and business leaders the world has ever seen. Together with Novacy, our sponsors, we're excited to be here with you today with a very special guest, a very distinguished and professional Sander colleague. I want to say so much good stuff about you, Tom. I don't even know where to begin. So, Tom, welcome to the show, man. I'm really excited for you to be here.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I mean, it's great to be on the show with you, especially what you're going through. Love to help. I've always loved to help. That's what turns me on, really.
That's awesome. Well, 30 years of experience. So there's a lot of stuff here. I mean, I don't even know where to begin. But our topic today is the secret sauce of seeing the truth. And why don't we begin by telling our listeners a little bit about what does that mean to you?
Well, it's funny. And I tell salespeople all this all the time. When my son was like 12 years old, and I've been in sales all my life. I've been a commission salesperson always. Um, but when he was like 12 years old, he asked me what I did. And I really wanted to give him a good answer rather than just, I'm a salesperson. And I thought about it for a while and I said, you know what I do? I get people to tell me the truth. Because really, if you think about it as a salesperson, that's really what you're looking for is, hey, I want to get in front of you and I want an honest conversation because I'd like to find out if I can't help you, let me get out of your way. Let me point you in another direction. I can't help you because you don't like me, right? Whatever that might be, let's let's get that out quickly so I can help you go where you want to go. And I think that's from the sales side, and I think there's three different levels, right? The sales side, management side, and leadership side. Um, I think it comes across also with what is your intention, right? If you're a salesperson, when you get in front of somebody and your intention is to sell something, then you can't get the truth and it's not going to happen. But if your intention is to help somebody, right? Help somebody do their job better, help people be more efficient, help a company be more profitable. If you truly have that as an intention when you walk into a company, I mean, everything changes and people are smart, right? We've got at Novoski, right? AI that can read people, right? Well, people have been reading other people for a while subconsciously. And right, I could tell that your intention is just to be a salesperson or hey, you really want to help. And the way to do that is disarmingly honest with people.
Yeah. So and I think we want the truth. And I'd say salespeople are usually perceived as dishonest from a
Yep.
baseline. And our job is always to, we always start behind. We always start behind. So we have to make it up.
Yep.
Um, and we're looking for the truth, and yet we have to come across with the truth. And by the way, I just want to, from a salesperson perspective, I want to unpack this for a second. What do you believe? What do you believe makes a great salesperson? I actually made a post on this on LinkedIn today, and I named it "Salespeople are nor made or born." Um, yeah, but I'd love to hear. We can dive into. I'd love to hear what do you believe a good sales professional needs to come in with that they can't learn.
Yeah. And I think I truly believe everybody could be a salesperson if they want to be. And you and I both run across owners of company that started a company from nothing, built
Yeah,
it up on their own, like they were an engineer or something, and created this company and now are producing $5 million in sales. And they're the ones selling it. And they'll say, I'm not a salesperson. I'm an engineer. But what
yeah,
did they do? To me, is you have to have desire, right? How badly do you want to be successful and how badly do you want to help other people? You got to be committed to it, right? And I think a lot of owners get those two things mixed up, right? Desire is a salesperson coming, hey, I want to make more money, give me a raise, right? Commitment is, I want to make more money. Can I get a bigger territory? Can you show me how to close bigger deals? Can you, right? So those two things, somebody with desire by itself is not good enough. And then I think a third thing is outlook. How do you feel about yourself, right? When you get in front of people, are you sitting down with people and believing you have a peer-to-peer relationship, or are you subservient and just trying to make a sale? And I think it goes back to the intention part is if I really have strong desire to help companies, I have strong commitment that I'll do what it takes, right? And I feel great about my company. I believe it's a product that can help. I feel great about myself and great about everything else and great about, hey, look at when you say no, we're not a fit. It's not a no to me. It's just a no. And go. And it's a good thing because you found the truth, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, there are two things I always say, well, three things to make things work. One is you need to have a system in place, right?
Okay.
And most companies either don't have a system or they have what I call a DIY system, do it yourself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And those aren't good. So one is a system piece. Then it's the people, and in the people, I love that commitment piece. I mean, that is rock solid, real right there, because we're looking for commitments from our buyers, and
Right.
again, you got to walk the walk and talk the talk. So you got to be committed. We have to be committed, and so many salespeople are just not there. And again, it's not because they're bad people. It's just because maybe it's just not been developed, or they just don't really want it that bad. Who knows? But the two elements I do find, one is how well they deal with rejection, so their composure.
Yep.
If you can't deal with the word no, then it's just never going to work. And second piece is being warm enough. So having the ego strength, but on the other hand, not using that as a weapon, and not using that to sabotage. I say be have a role, be as strong as a lion, and but yet soft as a kitty,
Yep.
or as David Tanner used to say, velvet and brick.
Yeah.
So what do you think when it comes to the leaders? And just take a step up here when it comes to leadership. So business leaders, business owners, sales leaders, revenue leaders. What's your intake about the truth?
Well, it's to me, people want to blame salespeople and or look for a quick fix. I need my people need training, you know, and most of the time I look at that as your people don't need training, you need training. Um,
Mhm.
yes, you might have the wrong people, but you think about it, how many owners, presidents, whatever, let's say they have a manufacturing plant. Um, and I would guarantee if it doesn't happen every morning, it happens every week, where that president of company goes to their office and there's a pile of papers on their desk, and it tells them how much raw material came in this week, how much out went out this week, how much they manufactured, where things are stuck, where they're having problems, and bottom line dollars. And they have all this info, right? They look at it and go, I know exactly where we're at. Sales department, they don't have anything near that. And they won't hold their machines accountable to getting it. Um, I've always thought of sales managers like a plant manager, right? You go into a manufacturing place and they got 4 lines of operation, and you talk to the plant manager and say, "Tell me about your plant," and he'll go, "Can you hear that noise? That's line number 2. We have a problem in line number 2. We have to shut it down every 4 hours to clean these bearings. Line number 1, we're going to retrofit that thing in 6 months. Line number 4 is running." They know exactly what their machines are doing. Well, as sales manager, salespeople are their machines.
Yeah.
Can a sales manager sit there and say, Tom, I need to work with him at least once a day, to just get his feelings not hurt. But he's a great guy, does everything, but this is a problem. Mike, on the other hand, I got to talk to him like once every 2 weeks because he's just on fire. So to me, most leaderships don't get to that point, and they sit there. There's sales, and then there's operations, which I understand.
So is it because they don't know how to look for the noise, the noise you mentioned? Did they just do not know how to recognize the noise of the problem, or is it because they're afraid of addressing it, or is it hopium? I mean, from a leadership perspective, because there is leadership. Everyone talks about sales hopium. I don't talk about leadership hopium for a second.
Yeah. No, I think it's a little of both. I think one, they don't understand it, so they don't even want to get to it.
Mhm.
Two, I think part of it is they don't understand it, but they're scared because you know what? Bob's a great salesperson. You're telling me he's not. Well, no, Bob's not a great salesperson. Bob's the guy that stuck around long enough because when everybody quit, he collected their accounts. So he's never sold anything. He just manages stuff.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of them don't have the belief in their own company. As I said, I've been in commission salespeople all my life, right? I've been a commission salesperson. And I can't tell you how many times as a young person, you might offer me a job and I said, yeah, I'll come work for you and I'll take more than half my business with me. And I didn't take 10% of it with me, you know? And I think the connection that leaders have to make is once the salesperson sells the company, how does the company sell the company? Right? So the companies that tie in with the company that's being sold, as opposed to me, the salesperson. And if you don't have that infrastructure in place, I'm scared the salespeople, I might make them mad. So I won't touch them. And that's in today's world, that's you're destined for, we talked about AI. If you don't understand AI as a salesperson, if you're in sales and are not embracing AI, you're going to be out of sales.
Oh yeah.
You know,
100%. And so let's talk about how to fix this stuff. Let's talk about, I mean, the listeners probably like, okay, we get it. We suck. What do I do next? I mean, so let's dive into, you've got 30 years of it. You've seen pretty much everything. If I were to ask you, Tom, if a sales leader today or a wannabe sales leader, a sales professional that wants it, but business owner, sales leader, revenue leader, if they were to take a good look in the mirror, what would they be looking for?
I think you kind of mentioned it. I think it's can they can they articulate the the sales culture they want? You know, what do you want your company to look like? What do you want the sales culture, your culture to look like? To me, the number one job of a leader of a company is the culture.
Yeah.
Um, so what do you want it to be? And and I see that as um, the biggest sticking point because culture is this. It's a, I hate using the word culture because it's overused today. No one knows what the heck it is. Culture is not creating a nice place for people to work. It's creating a place for people to grow, thus grow the company. Um, People that have a pool room in a lunchroom is not, and they think it's culture. It's not culture. Um, so, if you think about, give you an example. Um, you've heard of lean manufacturing, sure, and some of your clients have heard of lean manufacturing. I believe in lean selling. I believe there's process to it, and you can measure it and track it, and then you can improve it. But if you can't measure it and track it, you can't improve it. Anything.
Yeah.
So when you put lean selling in place, just like lean manufacturing, right? These are the numbers. This is what has to happen. Um, when you put that in place, then I think you can measure, track, and grow. And one of the things I got to tell you, James, is when a company hires me, we typically start with the culture, a sales culture. Because my belief is everybody in a company needs to know the sales department. So, typically a company hires a salesperson, they bring them in, they train them for 3 weeks on everything that's going on. And after 4 months or so, the salesperson walks into the shipping department and goes to the shipping manager, "Are you going to ship that this week? Because I understand our process and I understand it should ship this week," right? As a salesperson.
Yep.
My belief is if you had a good sales culture, the shipping manager should be able to go into the sales department and say, "Tom, did you get your third appointment this week?" That's a true culture. Um, and a lot of people don't want to put that together, but you put that together. And when, like I say, when I work with companies and we start there, people start saying to me, "So when do we start training the salespeople?" And my typical response is, "Not enough of them have quit yet. The culture's not in place."
Yeah. Another thing that I find, and again, I think, first of all, I think this is a wonderful time for sales.
Yeah,
Again, because everyone, oh, the economy's so bad, everything's so, oh, well, actually, this is the best time for you to actually be in sales because you can actually have an edge because everyone's freaking out, and everyone needs us because everyone's, I mean, at the end of the day, and no matter what you
right.
sell, everyone's in pain, no matter what you sell.
Yep,
But what I do find is I have conversations, and whoever's listening to this, I mean, if you're a sales leader, and this can be a little bit of a, I'd say a punch in the gut here, but I say to sales leaders, do you record your calls that your sales people? Do you watch and listen to how your people sell? And if you don't, is it because you know you're going to cringe or because you're lazy? And if you do you like what you see? Do you like what you hear? Because you gotta love what you hear and what you see. You gotta love what you hear and what you see. You gotta love what your salesperson is doing. You gotta know that your salesperson is giving an experience to the buyer where the buyer is feeling that they're buying. And if that's not happening, you got to be asking yourself, why is that not happening? Why are they not actually getting access to this, and learning this, and two, if they're not finding what it should look like, what they should be doing. And I personally believe that is a CEO that does not know how his people are selling or her people are selling. In my opinion, that is malpractice from a leadership perspective. What are your thoughts?
totally agree. I mean, if you don't, it's just like I said. I think that leadership looks at a piece of paper and sees all that input and outputs and totally understands operation. Well, if you don't take that same amount of time to understand sales, right, then the tail will always wag the dog. You're always
Mm.
going to be worried about the sales department. You're always going to be, "Oh my God, I can't make them mad." I bought a CRM, but it doesn't work. It works. You just won't let your people do it. And truly, and then once again, it goes back to culture. Culture always wins. And culture, if you don't know what it is, it's a hidden set of attitudes and behaviors. Hidden set, invisible, right? And so a perfect example of that is a CRM, right? You go in and say, "Hey, we got a brand new thing. It's a CRM. It's going to help you. It's going to make your life easier. It's going to help you control your day. It's going to do all these wonderful things." Yet, if the sales department you have has never been tracked, have never been questioned on what they do, just it was all about, did you make a sale? Well, that's the culture. You're now introducing a new thing into my culture, and culture is going to win unless you say this is a must. This is law. It's got to be law, otherwise culture will win.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And also, I find, again, to salespeople out there, I'll say this: if you guys have a playbook and you don't know where it is, and you look at that thing every single day, you're missing out on revenue. You're missing out on commission. I mean, and I see it. They just don't bother. Or they don't, get lazy, or they just, it's. And so I would agree. And I think the word law is strong. I mean, that is, yeah, but at the end of the day, it is business, and there is a level of discipline that needs to be implemented.
Yeah.
I got to ask you. I mean, you've again 30 years of experience. what do you think the fundamental change of that you've seen over the years when it comes to sales leadership? I don't know, over the past couple of decades. I mean, are things fundamentally different? Are they fundamentally the same? Do you think that the marketplace has changed? I mean, what are your thoughts
Well, I think,
from
yeah,
your?
I think a lot of things have changed over the years. I mean, back when I was a young salesperson, if you wanted to buy something, you'd call me in and 4 or 5 other people and say, "Hey, we're thinking about buying this." And that's how you got your information. And that's when the sales process started. Today, if you want to buy something, a new machine or whatever, software, you go online, you have your people go online, do research, and then once you decide, you might then do research on maybe 2 companies you're interested in doing business with, and then you call them in. So 60% of the sales process is done by the time a salesperson gets a call. If a salesperson doesn't have a good process of, and you said it, a playbook, right?
Yeah,
What should happen on the first call? If the salesperson doesn't have that, they're going to a gunfight with a pencil. You know, I mean, they're not going to make it. And then going one step further with AI coming in, right? Right now, a company calls me, I can go on AI, right? And in 5 minutes, I know the owner of the company. I know how to talk to the owner of the company because,
yeah.
right, it
I
gives me
played
that
around.
information.
I played around with that today. Oh my god, I know.
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah,
so it's totally changed. And salespeople that don't realize that you get a call, it's not like the old times. This is a lead that's probably going to buy. And if you're going in there with with no ammo, don't know anything about the company, you're in trouble.
yeah, and I think that's a valid point. I no, there's no secret. I'm a huge fan of Novacy, guys. Whoever's out there, yeah, I use it all the time,
Yeah.
and I see it as an MRI in my sales calls. I mean, it's like what is really happening, and it's like going to the doctor, going for tests, and being terrified of looking at the test results because you might find something, right? But I mean, I want to know if there's anything in there that should be better and that we can actually improve. And I think again, it's that culture of the law. It's the law. It's the discipline. It's the commitment. It's that combination of those. Because we can talk about behaviors, attitudes, and technique all the time, but at the end of the day, if there isn't that commitment, it's not set in stone. Then, and I remember getting into this business and Kevin, my coach, Kevin O'Connor, and he
Yeah.
used to always, law of the land. What's the law of the land here? He'd tell me, James, you walk into the room, you ask them, what is the law of the land? How do you do things around here? And it took me a while to really understand what that meant. I think it took a little bit of guts at the beginning too to use that. But I think that's I mean, if there's anyone listening to this, guys, when you go into a sales call, just ask your prospect, what's the law of the land here when it comes to pain, pain, pain?
Yeah.
And yeah, just because they usually don't have it. And I think this is true for whatever you sell. It doesn't really matter what you sell. Um, and yeah, at the end of the day, it's all about what's really going on. I'd like to change gears here, Tom. I'd like to ask you. We have a question we like to ask on this podcast. It's what is your secret sauce for selling?
Uh, I think my secret sauce for selling is it really gets, and it took a while in this business, and I think it takes a while in every business, but I think it's that mindset that um, I don't need the business. I would love to help you, but I don't need your business. So if you're going to play games with me, I'm out of here. If you don't want to tell me the truth, I'm out of here. Um, so, and it's hard sometimes when you're broke, right? To have that, or your pipeline's empty, to have that feeling because the technique we teach is negative reversing. And it's probably the strongest technique we have, but all negative reverse does is look for the truth. That's all it's really doing is looking for the truth. Um, and it's hard to do if you don't have a full pipeline, right? Or a full wallet, right? It's extremely hard to do. And I think when you get to that level where you get your head set of, you know what, money, it's nice to have, and you can take all my money you want as long as you don't take my ability to make more money. So I can lose an account It's a big account, and I can go, woe is me, and get depressed, or I can go, I just got to go get more, and I can do it, and I know how to do it, and I don't want to play around with rabbits and rats. I want deers and elephants, right? So to me, it's having that mindset. It's all goes back to mindset. Is what's your
Yeah.
mindset?
Yeah, it's like we spoke earlier about our salespeople made or born, and it's they're found, and then they're trained, and they're
Yeah,
sculpted well. Not everyone is appropriate, and you have a strong mindset and no fear of rejection. We're afraid of the word no, but if you think about it, the word no is the most common word. I don't know if you know this, but a child hears the word no like 180,000 times by the age of 16. So
yeah,
we're hardwired for the no, and that, on one hand, it can be difficult. But on the other hand, wait a second, if we're hardwired for no, then we should be okay with no, right? I
right.
mean, yeah. And
Yeah.
that's the real deal. That's the mental deal. I love it. So, Tom, anything you're listening to or reading these days that you'd like to share, or anything you believe the listeners and viewers, sales professionals, business leaders should should
Well, yeah.
be reading?
Well, it's funny. I I have a subscription to Masterclass and Udemy, and those are online learning portals. And I'm always looking to learn. If you're not learning, you're dying, right? So,
Yeah,
uh, I always tell people, grab anything, but if you're not thirsting for knowledge, if you're not thirsting, we run training programs, and I run an advanced program for advanced people only. And you know what? Those are the people that are already making tons of money, but want to keep learning. Um, and as the old saying is, those that need it the most want it the least, and those that want it don't need it the most want it the most. So,
yeah.
you know, but I think, if there's a great book, if you haven't read this book, Never Split the Difference. It's a wonderful book. It's about a FBI hostage negotiator, but read his information, and it's
There's so
not.
much Sandler in that thing, I mean, I'll
Yeah,
tell you that.
yeah,
Yeah, there's a
yeah,
lot of Sandler in that, and yeah, I do agree. It's a great way to take a lot of these techniques and make them, I'd say, actionable, and fun. I think at the end of the day, it's fun because people are looking for fun ways to take in information. And
yep.
uh, and one more question, just because I'm always fascinated about sales professionals, successful sales professionals, and I always know that from a mindset perspective, we always need to do things outside of our roles. And I think my question to you is, what do you like to do for fun, for your identity, for your eye, to keep you in the zone, to make, to what are your hobbies? Is there anything specific that you found over the years helps you maintain that strong mental toughness?
There's several things. I think since COVID hit, it was really how to do more of this, right?
Hmm,
Communicate via the computer. So I've really taken in my stride to build studios and learn how to train with more, make virtual training
yeah.
more fun. And I think it's made a big difference in the past. As you said, James, doing it for 30 years, I'd walk into a classroom and go, okay, what's the topic today? Right now, I have to prepare 2 hours for every 1 hour I'm online. Really a game changer, because I got to make it intuitive for you. It's got to be fun for you. You got to learn something. And so it's a different way. So I think that was part of it, is how do I keep honing my skill and getting better?
Hmm,
But my fun thing is golf. I play a lot of golf. So as much as
yeah.
I can.
Golf will do it. Golf will
And golf
definitely.
golf is it relates so much to sales because you're playing against yourself, right? Every time I play, it's more against, can I be better than last time?
Yeah.
You know.
I've got my eldest son. He's 18. He's going to be drafted next month, but he's he plays golf nearly every day now. He's getting really good. He's like, Dad, what should I do before? I'm like, you like golf, we play. Just why don't you just focus on that for a while? You work and yeah, and it just builds that resilience. It builds, it's like I say you hit the golf ball like you sail. If you hit it a lot, you talk a lot. If you hit it a bit, you talk a bit, and it's really about how focusing our technique and our behavior and our mindset, right? Because if
Yeah.
our technique, behavior, and mindset are not in the right place, then we'll be all over the place,
Yeah.
but if they are, then, and I agree, it is very, very similar to sales. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Tom, this has been great. Thank you so much. I want to thank our sponsors, Novacy, again. Guys, check it out, novacy.io. Just go to the top right-hand corner, click on the trial, and get going. It's freaking awesome. You can see what you're doing. You can see what your prospects are doing. You can see the truth. It generates lots and lots of fun features there with regards to writing your emails up for you, but of course also uncovering the emotion and the nonverbal. So check it out. Tom, how can people reach out to you and find you?
Oh, real easy. Tom at salesmadeeasy.com. That's my email address, and more than happy
Excellent.
to. Yeah.
Tom, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. And to the listeners, thanks for tuning in, guys. It's been a bit of a break here out in Israel, and we're glad to be back on track and recording. And so, yeah, keep on tuning in, subscribe, and see you next time. Until next time, as always, habits over motivation and systems over goals. Whatever you do, make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. Good selling.